Well, good afternoon, y'all. Welcome to another episode of KMBC Live. My name is Johnny. I'm a junior here at KMBC, and I have my friend Raleigh here. You've probably seen both of us before, but Raleigh, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
My name is Raleigh Spencer, and I'm a junior here at Kentucky Mountain Bible College, and I'm from Wolfe County, Kentucky. And today, me and Johnny are going to be discussing the field ministry program that we have here at Kentucky Mountain Bible College. So, Johnny, what is our field ministry program all about?
So, basically, here at KMBC, we believe that students should not only learn about ministry and get acquainted with the education side of it, but we believe that students should be involved in ministry hands-on so they can get the actual experience. And so, because of that, we have this thing called the field ministry program, which is run by our registrar, Dr. E. He's kind of in charge of all that. And basically what the program does is it takes every student, and during the second semester of your freshman year, you're matched up with a ministry somewhere in the community with a local church or a local organization. So this can be anything like leading worship. It can be like teaching a Sunday school. It can be prison ministry, pro-life ministry. There's a ton of different opportunities. And so what the program does is it matches the student up with that ministry. A lot of times you're with fellow students, so you're not just doing it by yourself, but you have some other students with you, and so you are matched up with that ministry, and then you go out there and actually do it. So if you are a Sunday school teacher, then throughout the week you prepare the lesson, and then Sunday morning you go to Sunday school and you prepare it, you share it. If you're a worship leader, same thing. You prepare for the songs, practice, lead the congregation in worship on Sundays. So basically, it's any kind of ministry you can think of. There's an opportunity to do it. Even preaching, just getting up and just preaching a sermon. We have ministries for that. And so that's what the program is all about. Now, Raleigh and myself have a lot of experience with this already. This will be our third year here at KMBC this fall. And so we have both been in this program for several semesters. And I know you, Raleigh, have had like a ton of really good experience with it. We've been talking about kind of different stories and, recollecting the memories of being in field ministry and all the things that God has done through that. What do you think are probably like some of your like best memories from field ministry, like how God has really helped in that ministry?
All right, yeah. So I got a couple really good experiences to share. But first of all, I want to say what my field ministry was exactly, and that is I went to my dad's church. He's a pastor within the KMHA, which is the Holiness Association that's connected with KMBC. And so the name of the church is Old Time Religion Chapel, and that's where my field ministry has been ever since I've been here at KMBC. And what I first started out doing was just youth ministry, was working with the teenagers and was teaching them. And I've also had the chance lately, throughout this past semester, to work with the little kids and the teenagers at different points. So that was really good, and I was doing that. And I also did have the chance to do a little bit of house meetings with my uncle, too. I forgot about that, but we had some good experiences there. But ultimately, my field ministry has been at Old Time. Cool. So the first experience I want to talk about is that one time whenever my dad was teaching the youth, and it didn't really directly involve me, and this wouldn't seem like the biggest thing to everybody, but me and my friend Jose, which he's a student here at KMBC too.
My roommate.
His roommate. We're all three really good friends. Yeah. And so me and Jose went to my church on a Wednesday night, and we were sitting there, and my dad was talking to one of the girls that had just got saved, and he had told her, he was telling her that it's going to be tough at school and that she's going to have a lot of peer pressure and stuff to deal with in her new faith. And in my heart, I knew Jose had dealt with that in his public high school. His testimony was great about that. So I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I need to tell my dad that he needs to get up there and speak. He needs to tell his testimony. And so I asked Jose, I said, do you want to share your testimony? And he's like, yeah, I want to share my testimony. So he did that, but afterwards he was telling me that God worked that out because he felt like he needed to get up and share his testimony. And so God worked it out just right to where he could share his testimony and encourage that girl to be able to stick strong in her faith.
Yeah, so basically what God was telling you and Jose the same thing. It's just at that point you didn't really know it, but in the end you kind of figured out wow, God was working everything out for his glory, just for this opportunity. Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah,
exactly. And the next experience was probably maybe the greatest experience I've ever had dealing with any type of ministry at all. And one of the other students, his name's Seth Bell, me and him would do worked together on Wednesday nights, and we kind of were partners in that. And so he was going to teach the youth on this certain Wednesday night, and we were just driving down the road. I was driving him, and he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. He's like, I'm not very well prepared, and he's like, I don't know what we're going to do. He's like, can you pray for me? So I started praying, and we were praying about it, and then I told him, I said, why can't we just go in there and be real with them? Tell them what God has done for us and what God can do for them. And he's like, that's a really good idea. Let's do that. You know, just pretty much share our own testimonies, and just get down to the personal level. And we decided to do that, but when we got to the church, my dad apparently had already prepared something for the youth, but we told him that we wanted to do this, that we felt like this was the right thing.
Right.
So we went down there and we laid it out. We just told them exactly like what God had done in our lives and the testimony that we had. And then I told them at the very end, I said, okay, we were in this small room with maybe like 10, 12 kids, something like that. And I said, whoever doesn't want to get saved can leave this room. I said, you know, we'll pray with others, we'll talk to them, but if you don't feel pressured, you can just leave if you want and step out. And after I said that, I waited, and nobody left.
Wow.
Nobody left the room, and I was shocked. You know, like that's crazy, but God was really working there. And some of them were pretty young, and I don't know if they really understood, but God was working with them even in that.
Definitely.
And so me and Seth were like, wow, we're going to need some help. Because this is a lot of kids to deal with for two people. Yeah. So we got some of the adults that were working in other places. We took all these teenagers upstairs. And some of us, we were praying with them like two at a time to get saved. And that was probably like the greatest experience I've ever had in any type of ministry. It was just crazy how God worked.
Wow. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, and this is, you know, stories like this is typically what we hear from a lot of people during field ministries. Because, you know, this isn't a thing where it's like a class where you just go to learn, but this is, you're going out to real churches and you're meeting actual people, and, you know, you're ministering in real situations to people who really need it. So it's not like you're doing it just to get, you know, credits for a program or for a class, but I mean the work that you're doing in the program is making a difference for eternity, basically. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, that's really cool, man.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of great experiences, and I know Johnny's had plenty too, so I'm sure he has plenty that he wants to share right now. Yeah. So what's some of the great experiences that you've had through film ministry?
Definitely, yeah. So for me, I've done it for 4 semesters now, and the first year, so my first 2 semesters I was in the prison ministry, and that's always, I remember even before I started school here, some of the students would tell me about it, and I'd always be super excited, like, man, I want to go to the prison ministry, I want to see what it's all about, and so I did that for my first couple of years here, and that was just amazing. I think basically almost every single service, just the power and the presence of God in that place. If you guys have an opportunity to do some kind of prison ministry, whether it is here at KMBC or, you know, just at a local prison or you know, detention center or whatever it is, I would really recommend doing it, because it was something like I had never experienced before. Because you're going into this place and you're meeting these men who, I mean, they have basically almost lost everything. I mean, some of them don't have contact with their families anymore, and they're just in tough situations. I mean, they're in prison, so they're, you know, they got there, and a lot of them were just hopeless. But you hear the testimonies of how God redeemed their lives, and that was probably my favorite part, was hearing the testimonies of the men. I know there were several men in there who, you know, had just had really rough backgrounds, and they, you know, they weren't, they didn't hold back from telling you. They would tell you, like, this is what I was involved in, this is what kind of person I used to be in my past life. But just hearing them say that Jesus has saved me and that he's redeemed me, and seeing the joy in their face. I mean, these guys were joyful, even though they were stuck in prison and they had nowhere to go, they had nothing to do but just be inside the prison. They had that joy of the Lord, and so that was an amazing ministry. But practically speaking, it helped me out with so many different skills. I remember I was kind of in charge of like scheduling who would go and what the order of the service was. So, you know, I'd write out the schedule, I'd get there, and you know, we'd have prayer and do different devotions, music, and then someone would preach a sermon. And a lot of the times I would be doing, you know, multiple things. Just, you know, I felt the Lord leading me to do a few things. So I'd get up there and lead devotions. And that, I know that helped tremendously with just, you know, public speaking in general. because the men there they're just great, honestly, and they don't pass judgment, and they're super supportive of you. So I mean, I'd get up there and share devotions, and they'd be really encouraging. I'd bring my guitar, lead in some songs, and I don't really think I'm the best singer or the best guitar player, but they'd stand up, they'd lift their hands, they'd praise the Lord. Like it was just amazing, just super encouraging. And I did it for 2 semesters, and I know that where I'm at right now, I probably wouldn't be as far along in some of these ministry skills if it hadn't been for that opportunity to be there. So that was just amazing. I really want to. It's been quite a while since I've gone back, because last year I had a different field ministry, and this is kind of what I want to talk about now is my experience last year with it. So I switched over from the prison ministry, and I started going to a local church here in the area, Red River Community Church. Some of you guys might know where that is, but I started going there on Wednesday nights to lead youth group, and I had never really done something like that. I had been in a youth group. I mean, in high school I was in youth group, but I never led it. Like I never been in charge of it. And so I mean, of course, there's you feel like there's some pressure and you get a little nervous, but I remember just after the first time there, just being super comfortable with the teens, with the workers at the church. Just such a great place, and that really helped me as well with really connecting with the teenagers and really being able to speak truth into their lives, and just being able to, it helped me like in preparing these devotions. I was not only helping them, but it was helping myself to dig deep into God's word and say, well, I want to be prepared for what I'm going to share with these teens, and so I would dig deep into the word, and I would learn new things. It would bless me while I was preparing for the ministry. But my favorite thing about that probably is the pastor at this church. His name's Pastor Charlie. He might even be watching. I don't know. He might see this later, but just a tremendous man of God, just on fire for the Lord. Every time I'd go there on Sundays sometimes to hear him preach, and every time he'd preach, he would just be just on fire, just super passionate about God and evangelism and ministry. And so I loved going there on Wednesday nights because I would not only get to share with the youth and tell them about my testimony, tell them what God was showing me in His Word throughout that week, but every single time Pastor Charlie would just pour into me, and he would just bless me with just a testimony of how God had been working in his life that week, or how he would be in the Word. I remember he would always show me like different programs he had for like different commentaries and all these things for digging into the Word, and just having him there as a mentor, as a spiritual leader to pour into my life was my favorite part about it, about being there. So that's another great thing about this field ministry program is it not only gives you the chance to pour into others and to share your skills and just allow God to speak through you, but at the same time other people are pouring into you and you're being blessed and you're growing in your own faith while you're doing ministry. And so that's just been such a tremendous blessing. But I love the field ministry program. I think it's a super important part of what we do here. We stress academics a lot. We say, you gotta learn. And I love being in the classroom. I like learning and stuff like that. But getting out there and really doing the ministry hands-on has just been amazing. What else do you think about the field ministry program that maybe they should know? Any thoughts on it?
Definitely. Like he was saying, the field ministry program, we definitely do stress academics and academic excellence because it's about giving your best to God.
Right. And
it doesn't matter necessarily how great you're doing in your classes as long as you're giving it your best. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing with the field ministry program. We can sometimes prepare a lesson, just throw it together, but in reality we don't want to do that. We want to give our best in that area.
Right.
And we can take what we've learned from the classroom and use it in our field ministry. That's kind of the purpose.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand.
Right.
And something I want to share is that a lot of times whenever you're coming out of high school as a student and you're a Christian, you can think, well, why would I want to go to a Bible college and prepare for ministry whenever I could go to a secular university? And that's pretty much like a mission field right there. All these people, there's so many people that aren't saved and stuff. I can just go out and start ministering to them right now. But the reality is that that's a really tough thing to do.
Yeah.
Is because a lot of students that are Christians do lose their faith once they leave high school if they go into a secular university.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's everybody, but that's a big majority.
Yeah.
And the field ministry program, why you would come to a place like KMBC is because they actually put you in places to where you can minister and they put you in these places, but they're not only there to shove you out there on your own, they're there to help you grow in your walk with God as you're ministering to the people, to your community. And you can do outreaches here in the community because, you know, we're here on a small campus in rural Kentucky, and it's like a holy hill, you know, kind of like with everybody up here that's Christians and stuff. But once you step off this campus, it's your mission field. It's your mission field, and there's so many opportunities. Even with people at places that we go in town, like stores, restaurants. You know, we're starting to connect with people that are at these places, and they're starting to be receptive and stuff, and that's really good. And you always have a chance to minister wherever you're at, and that's what I would want to encourage anybody that's thinking about going to a college or anything, is to consider Bible college to really grow their faith, because that's the biggest aspect of your life. Is your faith.
Definitely, yeah, and I definitely agree with that, and really all the experience that you're going to be gaining from this field ministry program, you're going to be able to use that not only during your time here, but especially after you leave. And kind of like you were saying, there are, you know, a lot of Christians that want to go to a secular school and kind of, you know, be a light there. And I think there is a place for that, and I think sometimes God is calling people for that. But a lot of times, being in a place like KMBC where you can do ministry, like you were saying, has the advantages, because every time that you're going to come back to campus, you're going to get spiritually renewed and like recharged, basically, and you're going to be able to tell people about your experiences and get help with the things that you're struggling with. And so, yeah, that's definitely a good point. And something that I've been kind of thinking about a little bit too is even outside the field ministry program, just with other ministries in general. Like right now, it's summer break, and we have, you know, youth camps coming up. We've been, you know, busy trying to get everything figured out. But that's another way that you can minister, and that's not part of the field ministry program necessarily. That's just another ministry opportunity that KMBC offers. But it's the same concept. You're going to a Christian school, and you might be worried because you say you don't have people to minister to, or you don't have opportunities to let God use you because you're surrounded by Christians, and you know, who are you going to talk to, or who are you going to minister to? Well, I mean, this summer, I guarantee you, both of us are going to be in contact with a lot of people who need the Lord, who need us to pour into their lives, and not just us, but God pouring through us. You know, it's not about us, but how God can use us. You know, through these youth camps and through the different places that we're going to be traveling to. Even just in the admissions office, we both work in the admissions office, and just talking to people, to high schoolers who are struggling in their faith, or who have questions, or who have doubts, or just need someone there to just pray with them and just help them to seek guidance in what God is doing. So really, it goes beyond just that field ministry program, but just so many opportunities to just reach out to people, just be a blessing to them. And so I love that about KMBC and just the opportunities to do that. Is there anything else you want to share, or is that?
Yeah, there was one more thing I did want to share, because I was thinking about it. You know, like as you were saying, there's so many Christians here. How are we going to minister to people on this campus? It's like, you know, if they're already Christians, why do they need ministered to? You know, but like you got to think, the angels ministered to Jesus. They did that.
That's true.
What about Jesus? He was the Savior,
right?
And he was ministered to.
That's true.
So we can minister to our brothers and sisters, and we've had the chance to do that in the dorms.
Definitely.
Because sometimes it can be just a late night conversation when somebody's really struggling, that you can really help them, because people just aren't. I mean, they're not infallible. They can do things, make mistakes and stuff. You know, and people struggle even on a Christian campus.
Definitely.
And that's why. And Satan's really going to fight you just that much harder because you're here. And I know that we've got messages sometimes. It's like, can you guys come to my room and pray? And we've just had a prayer meeting where we're all just praying together. Our voices are lifted, and God's right there. And He's moving whenever there's evil presence. You know, whenever there's just demonic things where Satan's really trying to attack your brother or even your sister. You know, you can be there and pray for them. And that's where the strength really comes from, is when you're having the faith like that, these small things, you're ministering to those people, to your brother and sister, and it ministers to you whenever you actually have that faith like that. So I think it's really good to be able to minister to even the Christians that are on campus with you.
Definitely. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And I think really kind of just summarizing all of this up is that coming here gives you ministry opportunities, plain and simple. You're going to have countless opportunities on campus, off campus, back home, traveling, so many different places where you can minister and allow God to use you. And a big part of that again is the field ministry program. And so I'm really grateful for it. I've been thinking a little bit here and there what kind of about this next year, like what field ministry is going to be, and trying to plan it out. And I'm looking forward to it because it's just another opportunity to where God can continue to use us in ministry and to bless other people. So I know we're both thankful for it. We're definitely really grateful to see how God has used us in these programs and to touch lives, and it's been amazing. But if you guys have any questions about the field ministry program, any questions about other ministry opportunities, anything at all about KMBC or just our stories, our testimonies, our lives, anything at all, just shoot us a message on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be. Shoot us an email, go on our website, check it out. Make sure you guys follow us on all social media. We're basically everywhere at this point. And maybe we'll even be expanding a little bit soon, more to come. But thanks so much for joining. We really appreciate it. And all we can really say is glory to God for how He's using this school. Really grateful for it. You guys have a great rest of your week. Take care.